Hello there, Tad Hargrave from marketingforhippies.com here at the beach, and this video is about dangerous ideas. So one of the big things, no secret, that I talk a lot about is about point of view marketing, this idea of sharing your perspective, your point of view. Now the challenge is oftentimes the people I work with, their point of view is not popular, meaning they believe something different than the mainstream. Ipso facto, I have a business called Marketing for Hippies, because hippies were never part of the mainstream, and their views were very different than the mainstream. But if you believe something that is counter to the dominant narrative in whatever community it is, if that's in your church, if that's in the hippie community, of course there's going to be blowback. And so this is what I've seen is for a lot of my clients, their ideas are considered dangerous. Their ideas are considered a threat. They're considered harmful in some way. I know people who work in the birth community practice this kind of free birth, radical approach to birthing, which in my mind is not radical, it's deeply human. But of course that's a threat to the modern midwifery and dominant perspectives on it. It's dangerous to say certain things, and of course there were the witch burnings. There have been a lot of times throughout history where people have spoken up against a dominant narrative and been silenced or killed for doing so. So some ideas are dangerous. They're not just dangerous to the dominant status quo, they're dangerous to the person speaking them. So I have no solutions to this other than to just offer up some deep commiseration if you find yourself in that unfortunate predicament where you have an understanding that goes so counter to the popular consensus view within your scene or within your industry. By the way, that could be on both sides. I mean, you could be somebody in the mainstream family who believes in holistic things, or you could have grown up in a hippie holistic family and say, no, Western medicine is where it's at. Wherever it is, it puts you at odds with your fellows. It puts you at odds with your family, and that's just a difficult place to be. And yet, whether it's volubly, publicly, or whether it's in little private channels on, some app that I don't even know about, where people have these conversations, you sharing what you see matters to the world. It's important. You may be wrong, but the only thing we can do in our lives is proceed with the understanding that we have, and hopefully be open enough to change it if new evidence comes. But if you see something, and it seems true, and it seems important, it seems like it would help other people to know it, it seems like the lack of knowing it is causing them harm. No doubt you have some opinions about that, of ways that people are being led astray. And that your views to call that out and to name that, well, that would be dangerous to the people who are profiting from leading people astray. And your views could be dangerous for you if you try to get in the way of between somebody who's leading people astray and the people. Wait for it, just watch that reaction. But of course, again, there's other ways to do it. You can do these things privately, discreetly. I know practitioners who, holistic practitioners, they treat people and then they feel people out in a conversation. And if they can tell that somebody's open to a more radical approach, they'll do it, but they don't advertise it. They might have a private Facebook group or a private, forum where they talk about these things and they just don't tell many people about it, and it grows through word of mouth. You can do that too. There's plenty of stuff out there that's underground, and of course you can reference things in your material. You can drop names so that somebody who understands that hippie philosophy that you maybe don't feel quite so safe speaking about publicly, that they would recognize it and say, yes, I know that person. For example, with the birth community, if I said, I'm a big fan of Wapio Diane Bartlett, I think I got her last name right, then somebody would say, I know a little bit more about Tad now. If he's into her work, he's probably maybe also into some of these other things. So you can drop these little clues and hints for people without overtly having to say the dangerous idea. And of course, you are under no obligation at all to ever reveal your dangerous ideas to anybody. You're in no obligation to put yourself in danger. And if somebody ever challenges you and demands that you confess what you believe, well, that's the thought police, and no thank you. Yeah, what you believe is your business, and you can share it with whoever you want to share it with. and you can withhold it from whoever you want to share it with. I would just say there really are some ideas that are dangerous, and that could be dangerous to you, and if you share them, there will be consequences. So good not to be naive about it. Good to be able to read the room and know what forum is the best forum to share things in. You know, some things belong on Facebook, and frankly, some things don't. Some things belong in your emails, and some things probably don't. Yeah, so, but of course, it's also dangerous to the world if certain ideas are not shared. Think of all the luminaries who had Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, whose ideas were utterly dangerous to the regimes in which they lived. And if they hadn't have spoken out, how much different would our world have been? If they hadn't have spoken out, how much poorer would our world have been? And how much more dangerous would the world have been for all of us? People who are willing to speak out about dangerous ideas help prevent dangerous realities. So bless everyone out there who's speaking out, and bless all of you who aren't, for all the reasons that it makes sense not to speak out. But I hope you find a place where you can speak, at least with other people who share your views, as you maybe build up the courage or find a way to do it, and lend your voice to the rising chorus of voices who are seeing dangers in the world, you know. As we see industry poisoning the world and people speaking up against it, I think of the indigenous activists in South America speaking out against the environmental injustices and being killed for their trouble. You know, God bless them and their memory and their children who continue to speak out. And bless everyone who needs to take a break from speaking out. So, anyways, my love to all of you out there with dangerous ideas. You're my people. And if you want some more dangerous ideas, you can subscribe to my YouTube below. And the red button, hit the bell icon, it'll tell you when there's more videos. I also send dangerous ideas out in my marketingforhippies.com website. I don't know how dangerous any of my ideas are, but anyways, thanks for popping by. If you like this video, it'll help more people see it. I think that's about it for today.